Hi everyone, Bonthany Giortano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Heems album, Eat, Pray, Thug. Heems, or Himanshu, is a New York rapper, formerly known as one-third of Das Racist, a New York hip-hop trio who, if you're not familiar with them, I recommend trying out their mixtapes, Shut Up Dude and Sit Down Man. Two projects of absurdist hip-hop, in a lot of ways anti-hip-hop. These two tapes, as well as the commercial album that Das Racist followed these tapes up with, poked fun at hip-hop, lampooned it, as well as celebrated it. Now, for reasons not really discussed in great detail publicly, Das Racist broke up not too long after the release of Relax. It's been said the breakup was planned the whole time, but as soon as Das Racist broke apart, it didn't take too long for Heems and Kool AD to start dropping solo stuff. Some of which I've been on board with, some of which not so much. A lot of Kool AD's latest projects have kind of trended toward the more absurdist side of things, to the point where I just have a hard time taking it seriously or really even enjoying it or getting anything out of it. Heems has been a little bit more, I guess, conventional and coherent and easier to enjoy with projects like Nehru Jackets, a mixtape loaded with cohesive songs, concepts, topics on these tracks too, especially with tracks such as Thug Handles as well as Women. In my opinion, a unique project, but Heems followed this mixtape up with another titled Wild Water Kingdom. Heems really tried to do a bit of a cloud rap thing on this project with loads of atmosphere, which I think just kind of smothered his rhymes. There were some terrible hooks on this thing too, just a lot of botched tracks, and now Heems is back, giving us another round of reasons we wished Das Racist stayed together with this new project here, Eat, Pray, Thug. And there's really no clear unifying sound or flow or overarching theme that brings all these songs together. They're really a mixed bag sonically and topically. There are some tracks on here that are just awful, terrible, auto-tuned ballads soaked in reverb that stick out like sore thumbs in the track listing here. Tracks like Damn Girl. Tracks like this are not only unenjoyable and just not pleasant at all, but it just feels like Heems is just getting super lazy, like he's not even trying. And while this might be tongue-in-cheek to a slight degree, something I think Heems maybe sort of hints toward on the song Pop Song, Games, he might be kind of giving us a wink, making us aware that he's just kind of dishing out soulless filler. But even the possibility of these two tracks being just a bad joke doesn't make them any more entertaining. There's another track where Heems kind of gets emotional over a breakup on the song Home. But even here, the most effective thing about the song is the instrumental and the contributions brought by Devonte Hines, aka Blood Orange, and I'm not even a Blood Orange fan. The way this beat here is sprinkled with some twangy, kind of reverby, thin guitar and some spacious drums, some chilly, drony synth. It's actually a beautiful instrumental. And then, of course, you're also getting these hard-hitting, kind of satirical cuts on the record here, like the opener sometimes, which has a pretty basic, straightforward concept. Heems is rapping about how he's sometimes this and he's sometimes that. It's funny, it's cool, it feels like that classic Das Racist sense of humor coming through, but with 4 minutes of length and just not that much variation and not much in the way of stretching this concept out past its initial idea, it doesn't really justify the length. There are tracks like So New York and especially John Cage where Heems shows off a much better flow. The speed is there, the articulation is there, the energy is there. Just in my opinion though, he's not really coming through with a concept or really that many lines that are sticking with me, not as sticky as what he was doing on Sometimes. And the song Al Qaeda is kind of ear-grabbing because he's kind of throwing out a lot of violent imagery, almost as if he's trying to do some gangster rap here, but he's kind of putting it against kind of a terrorism backdrop, saying that you don't want to mess with these people, you'll get murked, these guns are from Al Qaeda. Instrumentally here, we have a hard trap style banger with some really squeaky, silly synths. And on top of that, there really isn't that much on the song in the way of very bold, memorable humor. So the absurdity of him rapping about guns being from Al Qaeda is, I guess, hard to take as absurd. I'm sure there would even be some crazy people out there who would think he's halfway serious if it weren't for the fact that he has this back history in Das Racist. I mean, even Fox News, if they got a hold of this track, they would have a fucking field day. And then we have songs where Heems is going political, like usual, but he's bringing a really serious tone, something he hasn't really done that often in the past. Take the song Suicide by Cops. Right now, given recent events, I think cops are kind of deserving of a lot of the social commentary that's being thrown their way. However, Heems doesn't really seem to focus on the topic he's implying is central to this song, given the hook and the title. The whole track kind of drifts by without him really saying anything that paramount. However, I do really like the track Flag Shopping. I think it's my favorite song on the track listing here. This track is an incredible and moving take on the racism and the prejudice that Heems and his family went through directly after 9/11. And this is a story that is not often told in popular music, and it's a story that I think should be told in popular music. I think it's a track told from the standpoint of someone who has a very unique experience when it comes to patriotism and racial profiling, government wiretapping, mob mentality, and the ugly side of American politics. However, sometimes Heems gets kind of blinded by his desire to say something really poignant when he really should just be trying to package what he wants to communicate into a good and a coherent song. On the closing track here, Patriot Act, we do have a pretty decent track going for the first half, but then Heems kind of just devolves into this rant talking about just anecdotal stories and his personal experiences existing in post 9/11 America. And while it is heartfelt and I do sympathize and I think these stories need to be told, it's just something that I guess would have gone down easier for me if it weren't for the fact that there was just so much filler and so many just throwaway tracks that came before this song. Overall, I was just really not liking this project, unfortunately. I'm feeling a light to decent 4 on this thing. Transition. If you've given this album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Heems, Eat, Pray, Thug, forever.